I just don't want to feel bad if it does happen. And I'm not saying it's going to, it's just that.
There she is. Hi.
They're coming out of their offices now.
Yes.
Filling up.
1 minute to go. 1 minute to go.
1 minute to go.
Have you guys all met Paul? Everybody met Paul?
Bring your computer.
Not everybody. Hilton, I just met. This gentleman back here,
I love you, Brad. Brad, have you met Paul?
Brent.
Hi, Paul. How are
Hi,
you?
how are you?
I'm fabulous.
Good to meet you. How long have you been here?
In September of last year.
See, well, you haven't seen much of me.
No, I
Unfortunately.
It's
Been living
by
the life.
design.
haven't. Thank God we're fixing that.
Yeah,
You had your vacation, now you're back.
I know.
it's about time to get your.
Yeah, I know, get my ass back.
You can sleep when you're dead.
My, for Christmas, my grandkids gave me a t-shirt that says, sorry, I can't answer, I'm on another line. And it's fishing.
Fishing line.
Oh, how cute.
I'm into that.
What a perfect gift for you.
It was perfect. You started?
Yeah. So if anyone doesn't know, this is Paul Cornuke. He was ROP, and now he's an investor in our market center.
Right.
And he has a whole bunch of knowledge to share with us today.
I was here in 2008 when we had the changeover coming right in the middle of a depression. Everything was terrible. It's the opposite of what it is right now. Polar opposite. And which market do you like better? When the market's bad or when the market's hot?
They're both opportunities.
Well, which one do you think you'll make more money?
I like it when it's in the middle.
I love a depressed market.
Yeah, I make more money in a down
I
market.
love it because everybody needs you. Everybody wants you. They can't just stick a sign in the yard and have 10 offers. They need you to help them sell their home and find one. So we'll embrace a down market when it's coming. Are we going to have another down market?
Yes.
Everything is cyclical. Everything. It used to be real estate was a 5-year cycle, and now it's longer cycles. When we hit the top about 05, and then it turned, it took till 11 to come out. Bottom 11, we've been climbing. Now we're 10 years later, everything's double what it was in 11, if you look back. How much higher can we go?
Don't know.
Not too much higher. Good news is banks are in pretty good shape, except for all the no pays we don't know about that are hidden, that are on grace. And at some point we're going to start seeing depressed property. Come on. So just to give you a little bit of background on me, do you know our folks? Hello, Mike, I'm glad you're here. One of my favorite lenders right here. I started off as a youngster, got out of high school, went to Vietnam in the Army, learned air traffic control, and got out of the Army and did that for 11 years and loved that job immensely. Ronald Reagan retired me in 1981 with a strike called Petco. Most of you were not even born then, but we were retired. And I was doing real estate at the time, knowing a strike was coming, and I stayed in real estate. It's been 40 years now doing that. So never regretted it, loved it, looked back and would never change a thing. Loved real estate. I heard about this being debt-free from a guy named Ron Blue. He's a banker in Atlanta, Georgia, and he teaches people to be debt-free. And I thought, how odd that a banker would teach me not to borrow. I want to hear this guy, because in 1988, I did my income tax. I had $49 in the bank. I had $14,000 in debt. And I wondered, and I questioned myself, why am I even going to work? I am behind so far. How come I'm not ahead? What's the point of getting a paycheck? I could go to the food line and get free food and be as far ahead as I am now. Really, what's the point in trying to grow? So I went to hear him, and he changed my life. I took his course. I got 3 years later, was debt-free, and I started teaching it in early 90s. I've been teaching it ever since. This you're going to hear is part of what I had as a 16-week series. I taught it 1 hour a week for 16 weeks. I've condensed it to an hour and a half. So I'm trying to not skip things that are critical, but all the fluff's gone. I don't want this to be entertaining. I want it to be educational. I don't want you to walk out and say, oh, that was kind of fun. I want you to say, I have a new goal now and a new purpose, and I'm going to embrace being debt-free. I want you to like it. Can I have a show of hands of anybody in the room is already debt-free, right? Not counting your mortgage, but debt-free right now? About a third of you are debt-free. It's good. What I'm hoping you really learn here is how to teach your family and your clients this. I built my career on counseling all my clients. I taught them how to stay debt-free and create more money to buy a bigger home. Actually, I taught them to be content with the one they're in. Send me all their friends that are selling and buying. A quick story, I had a client who was vice president of Hewlett Packard, big company. And he was in Colorado Springs at the time. And he was looking to buy $1 million home. He had $60,000 in credit card debt. He was making a lot of money. And I sat down with him and I said, why do you need $1 million home? He said, well, I'm a CEO, I'm a big guy, big shot. I make a lot of money, my friends. I go, no, you need to be thinking more conservatively. I think you can be very happy in a 650 home. That 650 home then is $1.2 million home today. Okay, you can be happy in that. And besides that, I want to teach you to be debt-free. He looked at me, he says, I said, you believe in the philosophy OPM, other people's money, leverage, borrow, don't your money. Wrong. I want to remold your thinking. I want you to be debt-free, save money, and buy in cash as you go. Okay? So I taught him this. 6 months later, he calls me and he says, Paul, guess what? He said, I was just laid off. Really? How about that income? None. Got a little severance. He said, but Paul, guess what? I am debt-free. And I don't even own that much in my house right now. Cars are paid off. I am fine. I'm good for a year with severance. I'm not worried at all. He calls me a week later. Paul, guess what? What? I have another job and I'm making more money. Really? He said, but that experience showed me when you were teaching was right on the money. I slept every night. I had no worries because I knew I was protected. I was insured. From then on, he had every officer at Hewlett Packard came to see me. It was mandatory. They had an hour and a half with me learning how to be debt free. He wanted all his upper people to be debt free. So he had me teach them, which I enjoyed. I'd go over in the break room and I had people there and I'd teach them all. It was fun. Now, that was my real estate career, lead generating, and my ministry serving. So think about yourself. How do you give back and how do you help your clients? What value you give them? Why do they want to stay with you? Why do they want to refer you? Because your mind is right on. You're not giving them buy big other people's money, borrow money for the down payment. No. We don't do that. So that was my introduction to this class. I've been teaching it now a long time, and I love it. It's a passion of mine, as you'll see. That's an interesting thing. I typically go through this course too fast. I'm trying to slow down. Kathy Zeidema is with me. And I've asked Kathy to slow me down because I'm an A-type and I want to go fast. And my greatest fear is I'm boring you. And if I see one of you pull your phone out and look at it, I'm going to have to speed up. Don't pull your phone out. Okay, right?
Right.
Okay. So to start the class off, I would like Kathy to give a little testimony of her background. Kathy retired with me at the end of last year. Tell people who you are, what you're doing, and a little bit about your journey.
Okay,
Okay.
well, that's a long story, but
Hey, short version.
yes, okay. We moved to Colorado in 97, and I took a job as the business manager at a prison. We built a beautiful home on lots of acreage. We had horses. We had the whole 9 yards. My family was still here. And the market kind of took a dump out there in 2003, 2004. And we pretty much lost everything and had to start all over again. Came back to Florida where my family was, and we had to start over again. We had to rent a house for the first time in my life. We had to rent, which was, just killed me. But we rented a house on a canal with a pool, so that wasn't so bad. It was a good price. Well, after 3 or 4 years, we were building up debt again because we wanted this and we wanted that and we wanted that. And all of a sudden it was like, wait, stop. And changed my whole mantra, started applying. I didn't know anything about Paul's class, but I started focusing on what was more important. Paid off all our credit cards, never had a car payment again. That's why you see me riding around in an old white Buick, because I don't want a car payment. And we were debt-free in 2012, and having lost everything and that whole bit was behind us, we were debt-free. And I started looking for a house to buy. So we bought a home in 2013, rented it out, stayed in our house on the canal because it was a nice little place and we were only paying $1,300 a month rent. So, okay, now we're building equity in a house. In 2015, we bought our second investment property. And 2016, we left the canal and bought a home out in Parrish on 6 acres, lived there for 2 years, and now we're renting that out. So I now have 3 investment properties, no debt, and looking to buy number 4. So
Good testimony.
but the thing that I guess the biggest thing was every time you want to buy something, do I need it or do I want it? And those are the two. Do I need it? If I need it, okay, figure out a way to buy it without buying it on credit. Do I want it? can I afford to take that money away from something else just because I want it? And it's working,
It's working.
it's working.
Anya and John are gonna have a testimony at the end of the class. John's in the closing, yay. So when he gets here, we'll have him step up. It's something I want to share with you. It's pretty cool. Student loans. Anybody here have a student loan? Okay, only one student loan, 2 student loans. Okay. So what's been going on with student loans over the past decade and a half? Well, the Herald Tribune published an article a while back on the crisis of student loans. Student loan debt has caused a crisis in higher education. The federal government holds 1.5 trillion in outstanding student loans, a threshold increase from 2007 and a 500 billion increase from 2013. It accounts for nearly 10% of the American national debt. Student loans. How we get into this problem? Well, they blame the Obama administration and its 2010 takeover of federal student loans, which stopped private banks from lending. Private banks were lending, and they were very strict on who they lent to. The government said, oh no, we want to make sure all the students have all the money they need. We'll loan them all the money they need, and we'll worry about paying for it later, okay? This caused the colleges to increase tuition. So now the students get easy money, but the colleges said, you know what? It used to be 30,000 a quarter. We're going to raise it to 40,000 a quarter. They can borrow more money from the government at the same payment they were making to the bank. So tuition went up. Loans increased. What a mess. It's completely against what we should be looking at. So, given that, borrowing is a problem. The purpose of this class is really to embrace why we need to be debt-free. I want you to own it completely. I want you to learn how to be, and I want you to learn how to stay debt-free. Now, it's kind of like quitting smoking. It took me years to quit smoking. I quit, and then I went 2 months, and I rewarded myself with a cigarette, and I'm back to smoking. You're out of debt. Don't reward yourself with a loan for a new car. No rewards. It's a lifestyle. Okay? Just keep that in mind. Don't get that little pleasure. This is much like marriage counseling. 90% of all arguments at home are over money. Who makes it and who spends it. Am I right on?
Yep.
Anyone want to argue? Yep. Okay. We want to be one heart, one mind. We want to be on the same team. We want to be on the same focus. Define success. Who can give me a definition of success?
Wanting what you have, not wanting what you want.
Want what you have is the definition. Ron Blue, who taught this class, his little girl was 6 years old, and she said, Daddy, being successful is having what I want when I want it. Pretty simple, huh? I feel I can have what I want when I want it now. I'm retired. It's kind of like it's opened up a new territory for me. Tax deductions. Are tax deductions a good thing? Anyone want to say they're a good thing?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you just want to be a rebel rouser, I know. Okay. I'm gonna show you the tax deductions or not. Friends of mine are two attorneys, and they're very smart, and they have a loan on their house and they don't want to pay it off because they want a tax deduction. Good logic, isn't it? They make a lot of money, they need a tax deduction. It's wrong thinking. It took me 2 years to convince them to pay it off. And they paid it off right away, once they got it. Here's an example. Okay, Mike, you're a lender. I'm gonna pick on Mike Tulio. You're a lender. Mike, I want to borrow $10,000 from you, and I promise not to pay it back. Okay? Now here's the scenario, Mike. You get to write that off as a loss. And if you're in a 28% tax bracket, that means you're gonna get a tax deduction and you're gonna get $2,800 back on your income tax. Because you lent me $10,000, you're gonna get $2,800. How's that math working? Okay, now, I, on the other hand, agree to take the 10,000 and I will tell the government I have 10,000 income and I'll pay 2,800 tax on it. I'll keep the 7,200 in the bank. Is that wrong? Is that smart? You see the point? I don't want a tax deduction. It's only 1%. I want to be free and clear, and I want to pay only the amount I'll pay taxes on it and keep the rest. So if I normally have, $30,000 in interest a year on my loan, I'm only going to get back 10 grand in money. Whereas if I have it paid off and I get the 30,000 coming in, I'll pay 10 grand to the government for income tax and keep 20,000. Is there any reason to keep your loan in place now? When you talk to your clients, share this with them. You want to convince them to be debt-free. Your credit card company, your lender, your car, when you buy a car, they all want you to borrow money. That's how they make a living, and nothing against it. Now, in defense of Mike, Mike is loaning you money for an investment. That's different. That investment is appreciating as an asset. You're making money on the investment, but pay him off as quick as you can. Make him go away. Okay? Nothing personal. It's fine. You then go buy another home and Mike will help you with that one.
There we go.
See? So, what's the truth? The truth is, money is never an end unto itself. It is merely a resource to accomplish goals and objectives. What does Gary Keller say? For you new people.
Money is only good for the good it can do.
Money is only good for the good money can do. Let that resonate. It's really profound. Gary hit that right on the head. So let's define debt. I define debt in my class as if you took all the money you have in the bank and all the money you owe, and you paid off all the money you owe. If you don't have any money left over, I call you broke. And broke is a great place to be because you're not in debt. If you owe $1 more than you have, you're in debt. If you have $1 left over, guess what you are? You're wealthy. You have $1. Now there's degrees of that. But you see the point? Being broke's a great place to be. Have any of you read the book, The Millionaire Next Door? This is part 1 of wealth building with Keller Williams. Gary Keller, a year ago, said, I want you OPs to go out and I want you to all create 5 millionaires in your market center. Minimum 5. How do you do that? Number one, wealth building one, you're in the right place. You got to be debt free. If you want debt free, you're not going to create wealth. Period. You have to get debt free. Now, once you're debt free, you have surplus money. Now we'll talk about how to grow wealth. Part 2, I will show you how to buy property and pay them all off. And have money to, and have them for retirement and have enough income, you'll never spend it all. You will leave a legacy for your children. You won't spend it all. You can't, it'll be too much. It's a great problem, right? So I read this book 30 years ago, and I read it again. And there's a couple of, we're going to look at this more carefully in the second part. This talks about the millionaires in our country and in the world. I want to learn about millionaires. I want you to all be a millionaire. Is this a hard thing today, to be a millionaire? We really should be saying 5 million is a millionaire now. Really. 1 million is a piece of cake when you think about it. It's not hard. About 1 in 5 millionaires is retired. 4 to 5 millionaires are still working. 2/3 of us who are working are self-employed. It's you. Interesting, when self-employed people make up less than 20% of the workers in America. It's you. You're less than 1 in 5 in America. But you account for 2/3 of the millionaires. You're in the right place. You're in the right occupation, the right career. All we have to do is tweak it and you'll be there. That's the point. 3 out of 4 of us who are self-employed consider ourselves to be entrepreneurs. Most of the others are self-employed professionals like doctors and accountants. Here's a formula to determine what your net worth should be. Here's a formula. You have a pencil and paper. Quick calculation. Multiply your age times your income, your gross income. So if you're, let's say you're 40 years old and you make $100,000 a year, that's 4 million, that number, right? That's a number to start with. Divide that number by 10, and that's what you should have in equity in your self-worth. Your age times your income divided by 10 gives you a dollar number. That dollar number should be in the bank or in property. I'm happy to say I've surpassed that number. Even though I'm 72, I'm okay. I hit that number. If you count money in the bank and assets, equity in property. You have $1 million in equity, you have $1 million. Sell it, you have $1 million. Okay? Most people will never become wealthy in one generation if they are married to people who are wasteful. Wow, think about that. If one of the partners in the marriage is wasteful, we're not going to get there. They're going to sabotage the plan. We can't work around them. We can't overmake money to compensate what they're spending. Have you ever noticed those people who you see jogging day after day? They're the ones who seem not to need to jog. Isn't that funny? But that's why they are fit. They're jogging. Those who are wealthy work at staying financially fit. But those who are not financially fit do little to change their status. Now I want you to be financially fit. physically fit and financially fit. That's what I wanted to talk about in this book here. Okay, let's hit a slide here. I think
Is it on?
I don't even know now.
No, she just put the batteries in.
Did you?
Did she put the receiver in the computer?
Yeah, I haven't clicked it on the video. You
Let
know,
me see it.
Sam, I'll let you play with it. We'll come back to the slide, it's not a problem. Let's talk about what the problem is. We're going to talk about our society in a minute. But let's talk about what the real problem in our society right now is. What do you think the problem is? Do you think it's the debt is the problem? The debt is a symptom of the problem. What's the real problem?
Lazy and entitlement.
Spending,
Lazy,
living above your means. spending.
it's something else. What's the real problem with all of us in this room? Maybe, I don't want to say that matter of factly. We all have tendencies in this area. The real problem is greed and selfishness. We all suffer from this to some degree. And we all need to get over it and learn when we're debt free, we now free up money to give away. Do you know how good it feels to give something to people? It's an amazing feeling. It's probably the best feeling. I feel better about giving that money away than earning it. You know? It's a great feeling. An analogy of that is the tribe in Africa. 1 and 9. 1 through 9, pick a number, any number, write it down. Subtract 5 from that number. If your number was 1, now your number is minus 4. Okay? Got it? You got that number. Now, multiply that number times 3. It's okay to keep the minus sign if you have a minus. So if my number was minus 4, I'd multiply 3 times it, and it would be minus 12. Okay, you got that number? Now, here's the hardest one. Take that number and multiply it times itself. It's called squaring it. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 squared is 4. Okay, you have a new number now. On that number, you have add the digits together. If your number was 1, 2, 3, now you'll end up with 6 is your new number. Take the digits, add them together. Okay? If your number is more than 5, subtract 4. If your number is other than 5, add 5. If you're more than 5, take away 4. Okay? You have a number now. Multiply that number times 2. Double it. Last math, subtract 6 from that number. See how I've mazed you through all this? Okay? It's a financial maze. You have a number written down. Now, I want you to take that number and we call it mapping. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is 5, and so on. Whatever number you have, assign a letter to it. Okay? So you all have a letter. Now, I want you to write down the name of a country that begins with that letter. Any country. Write down the name of a country that begins with that letter. Now, I want you to think of a mammal that begins with the second letter in the country you wrote down. Think of a mammal that's the second letter, whatever it is. A mammal. Any mammal that begins with that letter, the second letter. Okay? Okay, the last thing to think about. Write down the color of that mammal. What color is that mammal? Now, the moment of truth. I would like those of you that wrote down you have a gray elephant from Denmark. Please raise your hand.
Did anybody not get that?
I didn't.
Oh.
I didn't.
You may have gotten the math wrong. I tried to go slow. It's okay. The point is, if you track through the numbers, I took you on a journey because now I'm going to sell you clothing for a gray elephant from Denmark. And you'll buy it.
And a
See?
white unicorn from Dubai.
No, you had Dubai.
It's a
Nobody
Dubai
picks
country.
Dubai. Denmark is the country of choice.
How do you get an elephant in Denmark?
Denmark's the country. The second letter is an E,
Yeah.
and you have to pick a mammal that begins with a second letter.
There you go.
Okay?
Good.
It's called brainwashing, guys.
The government's been doing it a long time. And that's-
So- The whole point is that has got me. Somebody sent me that years ago, and they thought they tricked me. How did they do that? Because I fell right into it. They nailed me. And I remember thinking, anyone can do that to me if they just put me down that path. Okay, we have a system. We're going to talk about how are we going to get debt free. First, we have to figure a situation analysis. Where are we? We have to figure our goals. We have to increase cash flow. How are we going to eliminate the debt to get there? And then we have to keep it. So what I want to do is my Vannas, and we'd like you two to each take a pile. Vanna A, Vanna B,
There you go.
and hand those out. We're going to talk about rules. So here are the rules. A rule we can talk about is the rule of supply and demand. Like today, the demand is high and the supply is low. What's the golden rule?
He who has the gold rule.
He who has the golden rules. This is spoken by a good banker. Junk in, junk out. The laws of nature. The law of nature are when things are left alone, what do? They atrophy, they deteriorate, they don't grow when things are left alone. A penny earned is a penny saved, only if invested. If you don't invest your money, you will not make money. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. The magic of compounding is what I put in front of you. The magic of compounding is simple. The rule of 72. Divide the interest rate into that number and you'll get the number of years it takes you to pay it off. For example, if we take $10,000 and I invest it for 6%, how long will it take to double? 20 years. Can I find 6%? Pretty hard. If I want to double 20,000 at 12%, I can double it in 6 years, 12%, a higher interest rate. So using that formula, if you go to SunTrust and you have $100,000 and you want to double it, and you buy a CD earning 1%, how many years will it take to double your CD? 72 years. Crazy.
Be dead by
How
now.
can we get ahead? Yeah. Okay. Then at the bottom, I've got other ones you can look at with the different rates of how, if you deposit money each year, how much it would grow and you would accumulate. That's a good formula too. So magic of compounding is an important part of understanding what we're doing. What happens when you're in debt? When you're in debt, the magic of compounding works against you for the bank. They get compound interest, not you. You have compound debt. So some basic principles, spend less than you earn over a long time. Opportunity cost of consumption, a dollar spent today takes multiple dollars out of the future. If you spent $100 today, it's taking more than like 125 out of 5 years from now. Compounding works against you. Getting into debt's easier than getting out. Debt allows you a freedom of choice. Where you prepare a budget. Planning goals. You should have a will, family budget, and business plan. Don't take that lightly. Keller Williams has all these tools for you. Be coming to those classes and doing them. Yogi Berra said, you don't know where you're going, you may already be there. Failing to plan, planning to fail. Define maturity. I had to learn that late in life. Putting off today's pleasure for future gain. I lived for the moment till I was 30 years old. I might die on. I gotta live today. I don't want to leave any money on the table. I'm spending as much as I can. In Harvard, they did a study of the graduating class, and it was a 20-year study, and they looked at the people graduating. 3% had written goals, 14 had verbal, 83 were oral goals. How'd that work out? Well, the people that had written goals, verbal goals, made 3 times more than the people who just said it. If you wrote it, if they verbally said, I'm gonna make more money, they made 3 times more than people that never said that. But if they wrote it down, they made 10 times more income. So if a doctor who had no goals made 100,000, a doctor who had written goals made $1 million. He had goals. That's what we're focusing on. It's how to get you there. And that's by having a plan. What does Keller Williams do? We have a 411. It's your goal, how you're going to get there. Reading the MREA, your business. Critical. You grow your business. This is integral. First part of the class is grasp that you're debt free. Second part is I'm going to master the MREA. I am going to grow my business. Whether I'm a single agent, an admin, or a team lead, whatever, Omega, you're going to grow. Okay? Where does your money go? I made this chart because I wanted to know where my money was going. And I realized everything below zero debt is keeping me in debt. Are you spending any money below the line? Buying electronics, student loans, toys, cars, credit card debt, travel clubs, lines of credit. QVC. Are we losing it? Okay? Everybody's gone through this. Go, get above the line, put your money up there where it's fun. And at the very top is retirement. You don't see that yet. I see it. But the slide didn't go, you don't get it big enough.
That's messed up.
It's up there. It's up there.
Retirement.
Retirement is a good thing. So what do we want to do? We want to increase the cash flow margin, avoid consumptive lifestyle. We want to have a budget, avoid auto purchases. What's the best car you can own?
When you pay cash for it.
The one you have right now. Pay it off. Pay it off. Okay. Kathy sold her Lexus and bought her Buick and had money in the bank. She drove a Lexus for a while and she goes, wait a minute, I don't need this luxury. Credit cards, stop using them. In the class, they teach you to cut them all up. Some people had a cooking party. They took a big pie sheet, put tinfoil on it, put all their credit cards, turned the oven up to 450, shoved it in, and they melted them all together, and they had a collage. And they're not going to use their credit cards anymore. Done. Period. Consumer debt, buying things, mortgage debt, minimize. Invest in your house, but don't go crazy. Buy something you're content with till you're living in the lap of luxury. Then you can buy something bigger. Business debt, okay. Is it smart to borrow money for business? Fortune 500 businesses, the 500 biggest corporations in the world. How many are free and clear, and how many are OPM, other people's money, living on debt? These are the smartest people in the world. How many?
Less than 10%.
How many are free and clear? 80% are free and clear, 20% borrow. Hewlett Packard, Colorado Springs, Digital in Colorado Springs, downturn. When they went down, Hewlett Packard's free and clear, no debt. Digital owed a lot. Guess what? When the market went down, Hewlett Packard made 1% less per year profit. Big deal. Digital had to lay off. They couldn't handle overhead because they were in debt. They lost money. It's just a fact that the smarter people are free and clear. Running your business free and clear. You run it month to month, you're going to have money in the bank, you're going to pay money from every closing to run your business. We'll show you how to do that. Okay, 4 criteria for deciding on debt. Number 1 is spiritual. Are you at peace borrowing money? How many people have borrowed over $1 million here? 1, 2. When you borrow $1 million, you really makes you pucker up at the table and go, whoa, what's going to happen if. Okay, Steve and I put $1 million loan on this building. I put $1 million loan on the building down in Inglewood. Do I regret it? Not at all. It's an investment because we're paying those loans off. They're all paid down to $500,000 now. Those loans. They're no longer $1 million. You have to be at peace with you. Borrowing $300,000, I remember at one time, made me really nervous, scared. Your buyers freak out borrowing that kind of money. You have to be at peace. Borrowing it, is it safe or is it risky? Economic, does it make sense? ROI, return on your investment. It was a good investment to buy a building. It's not a good investment to buy a brand new Lexus right now. $100,000 car, what's it going to be worth next year? 85, 90? It's not an investment,
Not even that.
maybe not even that.
It was 30% driving
Okay.
off the lot.
Psychological, how much can you handle? Hmm. How much keeps you up at night? And your personal goals, does it meet your plan? Okay. Vanna A, Vanna B. We're gonna have fun now. This is a fun time. Okay? I want you to see a couple. I never officially named them, but I kind of unofficially call them Willie Make It, Betty Won't.
Betty.
Really make it.
Willie Make It is Betty Won't. But this is a couple that makes $40,000 a year. They have $33 a month income. Mike, I don't think you'll give them a loan, okay? Here's their monthly payments. See that line? They're paying no money for giving. They don't have any to give. They're paying $800 in taxes. This is every month. $700 on their mortgage, $500 for food, $250 for clothing, $200 for transportation, $150 for entertainment, $200 medical, $350 insurance, $100 they give in gifts every month, and miscellaneous $250. They spend $3,500 a month on stuff, what we call living expenses. Now they have debt. They give $150 to Visa. They owe $2,000 on it. They're paying 21% interest forever. They have a MasterCard. They're paying $100 a month, $1,500 balance, 18% forever. Amazon, $25 a month, $700 and 18%. I'm not paying that down. Macy's, $20 a month, $400 balance, 21%. And Apple, $80 a month, $1,300 balance, 21%, and they're paying that for them. Wawa, $25 for gas, $300 a month, $2,100 interest. He's put more than $25 a month in gas on that card, and he's only paying $25 down. Auto loan one, $175 a month, $8,500 balance, 9% for 4 years. Auto loan two, $150 a month, 25 balance, 14. 1 year left on that. And bank line of credit, $25 a month, $1,000, 11% interest for 3 years. And the total amount they're paying on debt's $750, and their total in debt is $18,200. Their cash flow synopsis, their summary is this: they're in the hole, $917 a month. How are they going to survive? And how long will it take to pay the debt off? Give me a time frame. How long can you get them to pay that off? How long will it take? I think we're going to get them paid off in a reasonable amount of time. We're going to have them change their life, okay? This is a 3-step process. Step 1, I want to take all their living expenses and I want to trim them down. I have to free up money every month to pay off the bills. They're living high on the hog. No more. It's now survival. They're not allowed to go bankrupt, and they're not allowed to borrow money, and they're not allowed to go to their parents for a bailout. Not going to happen. We're going to fix it and deal with it. So we're going to take their taxes and we're going to trim it from $800 a month to $650. How do we do that? What you don't know maybe is you can go and you can file when you do your income tax and you file dependents, you can change the amount of dependents to any number you want. If they're a family of 4 and he's declaring four dependents, what he can do is up that and claim 6 or 7 or 8. And that'll reduce the amount of money they're taking out each month. At the end of the year, what happens to most people like them? They get a tax return of $1,200. What do they do with it? Do they pay off their bills?
Nope.
No, they celebrate and go on vacation and blow it, right? Because they have no discipline, they have no plan. I don't want you to have a tax return of any money. I want you to zero out with the IRS April 15th. File, no taxes owed, no return. Done. Okay? That's your goal. So we changed it to 650, then freeze, fill these blanks in on your sheet. I'm gonna give you a finished one when we're through. On your sheet, on the second column in, make it 650. The one to the right, make it 150. Okay? You're gonna increase cash flow 150. Home mortgage, can't really change that unless they were paying 21% interest for refi. They're not. Food, they're spending $500 a month on food. Is that high or low right now? It's low, it keeps going up. So I'm cutting them even lower. You're going to 400 a month. You're gonna save 100 a month. How do you save? How do you save? You cook at home.
Costco.
You stop going out. No more dinners out until you're debt free.
No more DoorDash?
No more DoorDash.
No more. No more. You don't have a, it's a luxury to go to a restaurant. No, you eat at home. What kind of food are you gonna start eating? Well, my wife was a great cook, is a great cook, and we had hot dogs for a long time. I love hot dogs to this day. She said she can't believe I keep telling her to cook hot dogs, but we ate hot dogs a lot. You fix things that are inexpensive. Spaghetti works real well. Mac and cheese is a big favorite, right?
PB&J.
Beef, peanut butter jelly. You survive. We're on red. The dashboard's red light is flashing, and the needles are flipping back and forth. We have to get out of debt. No more luxury. You're going to eat differently. Maybe we could go on a diet. Maybe.
No.
Costco is a good place to go. Stock up on Costco. Okay. Clothing, they spend $250 a month.
0, not
They're
even
gonna cut
close.
them back to $150. They have to buy things for the children. So, okay. If I had my way, it'd be 0 to run debt. Where would you have it? Now, transportation, they pay $200 a month, cut $50 off, then go to 150, and you increase $50.
How do you do that right now with gas prices?
I know, gas just went up. You carpool,
Bicycle,
bicycle lot,
work off the calories from the pasta.
really, you,
Costco, it's
you have to
cheaper.
cut down, hi John.
Ride my horse to work.
Okay, entertainment from 150 to 50. You don't need to spend that much money on entertainment. You could go to 0. People have Netflix, they have other things. Okay, so you save 100 a month. Medical, 200, go to 175, save 25. Insurance, go from 350 to 25. How do they do that? They're paying on a whole life policy. When you have a whole life policy, it's a combo. You're paying term and you're putting money in an investment. You don't want the insurance company to have that money every month. You need it to survive. So get term. Cancel the whole life, get term. No penalty to cancel. Get rid of it. Get term. Term's cheap when you're young like you guys. Doesn't cost you anything. Miscellaneous, they spend $250 a month. We're gonna go to $150 for miscellaneous. Maybe some of that needs to go to gas or food. So bottom line, we've now adjusted their monthly payment for their living expenses to $2,500, right? When you add them all up.
What happened to gifts?
Gifts were 100 down to 50. We saved 50. So now we have $2,500 a month we spend on living expenses. We saved $1,000 every month from just that, right? That alone is going to help. Now, step 2, I want to do the same thing on credit cards. Why do I want to change credit card payments?
The interest.
I don't want to pay principal and interest to them. I only want to give them interest. I want to free up every dollar I can because I'm going to pay off debt, not pay a little on it forever. Stop paying forever. So here's the plan. Credit card number 1, Visa. I'm gonna pay them $50 a month now. I'm sorry, $100 a month, not $150. I'm gonna pay them $100 a month. You call them and tell them, I have to streamline my debt. I'm about to go bankrupt. I have to just pay the minimum payment. Will you be okay? You know what they say? What do you think Visa said? Hallelujah. I wish everyone that had a credit card would do that. You know why? They keep rolling month after month after month after month, forever income. They love it. If you pay them principal, you lower the balance. Ridiculous. They don't want that. They want your interest. So we just pay them interest. You're going to take that money and you're going to lump all these principals that you're saving and throw it at these so they can go away. MasterCard. Instead of paying $100 a month, pay $75. Save $25 a month. Amazon. Instead of $25, pay $20. Saves $5 a month. Macy's. Instead of $20, that's the bottom. We have to pay that. We're already in interest on that. So it saves $0 money. Apple. Instead of $80, pay $70. Save $10 a month. Wawa, instead of $25, pay $20. Save $5. Auto loan 1, can't change it. Stays at $175. Auto loan 2, can't change it. Stays at $150. Bank line of credit, $25. Now let's pay $20. It's only $5. I mean, we're gonna save $5. So you're saving $650 on your monthly debt reduction payments. So the $2,500 and the $650 at the very bottom, your total living expense in debt is now $3,150.
Saving $100 a month
You're saving
on the,
$183 a month extra now. That's a critical number. We have $183 a month extra. What do we do with it? Step 3. Step 3, I look at the credit cards. I want to pay them off. Which one do I pay off first? I have a plan. I have a motive. I have a reason. Why Wawa?
Because you can be done with it and then roll that payment to the next one.
eliminate.
Here's the rule. Here's your rule. Lowest balance first. Highest interest if it's a tie. Lowest balance first. Wawa's number 1. What's number 2? Okay. What's number 3? Here, you guys can hand these out. Those are the answers. What's number 4? Apple. Apple's number 4. Okay. Number 5, who's that? Okay.
Before,
Number 3 was Amazon, 700 balance.
right,
And number 4 owes 1,300, it's 21%. High interest.
okay, but that.
Number 5, number 5 is a little more and 18.
You owe $1,300 to Apple, $1,000 to business credit line.
Okay, let me see where you are.
But
Yeah, but it's a low interest.
11%.
Right, but you said start with the lowest card first.
And then it's $1,000
Correct.
is lower. Now, what's the next lowest balance?
Apple at 1,300.
No,
Oh,
what about Macy's and
Yeah.
Amazon?
Well, they're already
They're
covered.
2 and 3.
Oh, they're already two.
The 11% on the line of credit keeps it low. Okay, pay off your high interest rate. I mean, just for illustration, there's no right or wrong. You can pick what you want. Let's
Okay.
get rid of them.
all right,
I chose this order, and so I want to pay them off because they'll go away quicker and it'll free up more money per month for me to pay off other bills. Follow me?
Paul, will you go in the order again?
And number 1 is Wawa, number 2, Macy's, number 3, Amazon, Apple's number 4, and MasterCard is number 5. Visa is number 6. Then the line of credit is 7. And I have to leave auto loan number 2 is my 8th to pay off, and auto loan number 1 is my 9th to pay off. Okay, so here, if you can hand these out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how we make these guys all go away. What we're going to do is I want you to fill in on Wawa, which got $300. To the right, you're going to put the payment of $20. And then to the right of that, you're going to put a plus 183. And to the right of that, you're going to say, how many months did it take me to pay off Wawa? Month and a half. 1.5 months. Wawa is gone. Had we not done any of this exercise, we'd still owe money to Wawa. Nothing would have happened. By doing this, 1.5 months, you got rid of one. One credit card is gone. Now, here's the magic of what we're doing. On payoff number 2, Macy's. It's $400 a month. It's a $20 payment. Write that in that box. We're going to take the 183 extra money we get every month, right? 183. And the 20 that we were used to be paying Wawa, now we're paying Macy's. So now we're gonna give Macy's $203, 183 plus 20. Okay? How many months is it gonna take us to pay off Macy's? 203 a month, we owe 4, 2 months. So now after 3.5 months, we've gotten rid of 2 credit cards. Pretty good rate. See? Now, I also freed up a $20 payment to Wawa and a $20 payment to Macy's. So on my number 3 order, Amazon, I have a $20 a month payment I make them. Now, how much am I sending in above and beyond that? I'm sending in 183 plus 20 plus 20 223. Right?
How do you-
220, pardon?
I'm losing it at this point, because the additional apply is cumulative. Okay, so we paid Wawa off, and we got,
So you no longer, you pay Wawa, you no longer have the $20 going out every month to Wawa. You have freed up $20 in addition to the 183.
correct,
That 20 and that 183 goes to debt number 2, Macy's. I pay Macy's off, I free up Macy's payment, added to Wawa's payment in the
I
183.
got it,
Now, I'm gonna send Amazon 223.
okay, I got it.
But you don't keep spending at Wawa and Macy's after you get paid off.
No, you go to Wawa, it's cash. No more credit. You're not safe with a credit card. You've abused the privilege. You're gonna teach yourself discipline. By the way, it's been shown, people that spend with cash, spend about 23-24% less than people that use credit. Credit has no personal attachment to you. Where do I sign? It's cash. You go to a restaurant, put it on the credit card. You go to a restaurant, you got to count out $112. Oh, and a $20 too.
I
Wow.
notice I spend less with my debit card and just cash. If I have just cash, I can feel it leaving my hand versus with a card, I just whoosh, and then I just kind of adds up.
Perfect
If I have
example.
my cash, I'm like, oh, that's a real bill.
It's real.
Yeah.
Money is real. It's funny money when it's in a credit card. So Amazon got the benefit of Wawa and Macy's going away and we took their money. Now, how many months will it take to pay them off? 223 a month goes to them. 3 months. Now, Apple, you're my next target. I owe you $1,300. I am paying $70 a month payment, and I'm getting the 223 from the above people plus the 20 from Amazon. I'm going to give you 243 extra. And how many months is it going to take me to pay Apple off?
Just over 4.
5 months.
5.5 months.
Okay, now, interesting note. Auto loan number 2 is paid off now. How'd that happen?
There was only so many years left on
It
it.
was 1 year, look on the right column. How many months is this down the road? 11 and a half months. We paid off the auto loan without sending him any extra money. Done. Okay, now, we're gonna zero on MasterCard. We're gonna give them all the money from above, which is 243, plus the 70 from Apple, plus the 150 from the car loan. It's a total of 463 a month. All those together are 463. How many months to pay off MasterCard?
Just under 4.
3 months. Go 15, 463 a month, we're throwing at them. Done
Plus
in
the
3.
payment.
Visa, we're gonna give you the 463 above plus 75 for MasterCard for 538 is the amount we're giving you. And we're gonna do that for how many months?
3.5.
4 months. Bank line of credit, $1,000. We've got 638 freed up. We're gonna pay that plus the $100 from Visa, so 638 to the line of credit. It'll take a month and a half. Now, so what I'm doing is I'm paid everything off except the car loan, number 1. Car loan number 1, that had a 9% interest loan. It had 4 years left on it. Now it's got $5,200 left. We've been paying it down. So we're going to take all the money from above 658 and the 20, and from the bank line of credit, we're gonna pay $658 a month to the auto company for how many months? $658 a month, $5,200 balance, about 8 months. So how many months total did it take us to pay everybody off?
8 months.
All the months from day one with Wawa,
34.
28 months. Fair enough? Here's your answer. You'll have it all. I wanted you to do it to see the exercise. Here's all the answers. This is good to have if you're teaching this to somebody how it works. Okay? So now, what is this couple experiencing right now? 2 years later, they're now saving $10,000 a year. Right? They're saving that 917 that they were in the hole, they're saving that now. They were losing 11,000 a year. They're now saving 10,000 a year. 21,000 spread, losing, saving. Pretty good. And you will have helped them do that, creating a plan. Okay. I'm in the final laps here. The reason I really wanted you to do the exercise is because of the illustration of the cocoon and the butterfly. And for those of you that haven't heard the cocoon and the butterfly, in a science lab, some students took a half a dozen butterfly cocoons, and they experimented, and they very, 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 ever so gently took a scalpel and put a small slice in the cocoon to weaken it so it would just open easily. And then they had 6 more butterflies over here in their cocoons, and they watched what happened. And when the butterflies emerged from the cocoons, they all flew away. And what happened to the 6 butterflies that had the cocoons gently opened for them and handed to them without them going through it?
They couldn't fly.
They couldn't fly. Why couldn't they fly?
They weren't strong enough.
Why weren't they strong enough?
Didn't build the muscle.
You've got to go through the birth canal to push the blood through your wings to fly. They didn't go through the excruciating, torturous journey through that opening in a cocoon to put the blood in the wings. It's a plan, God's plan. So they now can fly. So you don't have it handed to you. Do it the hard way. That's why people always ask, why don't I just go to the bank and get a line of credit? I got great credit. I'm on time on all my payments. I can borrow 20 grand, pay that 18 grand off we owe, and just have a payment on the 20 grand. They could do that, couldn't they? Why is it stupid? They haven't learned anything. They're not growing. It's like fitness people. You have to work out to get it. If you take a pill, you're not going to grow. You're not going to learn. So the point is, be the butterfly that goes through the process, and you don't curse it, embrace it. Be glad you're doing it. Because you come out the other end and you feel stronger. You feel good. This is right at the conclusion of what we're doing. I wanted to close with one more testimony. John and Anya, could you guys come up here a minute? This is kind of fun. give us something you want to show us and talk about. John and Anya, I would love you to give a brief history of when I knew you and before, and when you came to Florida, and your journey and where you are today and how you got there, going through the cocoon.
You know each other so well.
So we left California for Florida in 2006. We bought a home. We had great jobs, great life, company cars, medical, everything was fantastic. We had a house, beautiful house, everything was wonderful. So that we're gonna come to Florida, flip homes and make a lifestyle here. And we really didn't have much debt back then.
No, we didn't have any debt.
Yeah.
No, nothing, actually, just the house. We came here, he got himself a new truck because he needed one.
The first time I went to a dealer ever and bought a truck from a dealer and put it on payments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had my Sebring, and the only debt we really had was our mortgage and the car.
We took money out from the home that we sold in California. We bought a property to flip up in St. Petersburg. And then we also had, we sold a property we had in Tempe, and we put it into a 1031 exchange, and we bought a duplex here, so we went into debt on that property. And we went into debt on a home up in St. Pete that I was gonna be a genius and flip the homes. Right in 2006, entering 2007, as the market was about to go down, which we did not know because we didn't study the market properly at that time. So after about a year into it, and I was gonna get a job as a project manager, estimator, Anya was gonna become a realtor. She became a realtor, I became a flipper, who was a flopper. And as we flopped, we just started spending more and more money on the home because I wanted it perfect and it was too slow. So our debt just started growing. And I was putting things on credit cards to pay for and getting opening up charge cards for Home Depot and different things, right?
Yeah.
So along comes a year later.
The recession came, I didn't make much money at all. Got a job, got into BPOs, and we kept listening to Dave Ramsey.
The home was finished and I was trying to get a job,
Yeah.
couldn't get one to save my life in construction because there was no more construction
They were all
jobs.
moving out.
Yeah.
So Dave Ramsey's answer to everybody's caller's question was, I can't make my payments, was sell your truck.
Yeah.
And he heard it often enough.
Kept hearing this guy, sell your truck, and I'm like literally in a parking lot, I'm selling the damn truck, Dave, and I got this book, you know, for $10, and I told Anya about it, I go, look at this guy named, this Dave Ramsey, I've been listening on the radio, and all he does is basically that.
Yeah.
So we were how many thousands in debt at that point?
So after, I think we still had 36,000, but our income was really low. He sold the truck and we were gonna get a second car because I needed one and he needed one. And he took my little Sebring, I think, to look at a car or something. Sebring died. I had just put on brand new tires, 90 days, save as cash. I'll never do that again. The car died. It was 5,000 to fix it up or get a Buick. We got a Buick. And we shared the car
Had an
for
auction for
3-4
$5,500.
years.
We shared one car, selling real estate. I took a millionaire out in that car. Let me tell you, they just care about you. They don't care about the car, just how well you take care of your money.
Yeah.
So
We ended up really scaling back our expenses, lifestyle was gone. Anytime somebody would ask us, hey, do you want to go out for dinner? No, we made no our middle name.
Yeah.
We would go out to the beach for, yeah, I did keep on
Yeah.
saying.
right? We got down to the point where it got so bad that we had bought a kayak and we had money when we got here. We sold the truck, we had this kayak that I bought, it was a pedal kayak, and I sold it for a house payment, like $2,000, I think we paid $2,500 for it. Well, I was able to find somebody to buy it for $2,000. She was in tears. That was the bottom, right? That was the moment where it's so emotional for us today.
Yeah, those were our character building years. So we paid off all of our debt using this kind of a system, continued saving, and over the years, we built up enough saving to pay off the house.
Yeah, stuck it out in real estate and kept working and working
That was
So
actually.
I remember meeting you, and I remember the one car, and I remember John deciding to come help on you, grow your business. And they were hand to mouth, literally. And there were discussions about, maybe we need to quit. Maybe we need to do something else. We need to go get a job, Home Depot, Lowe's, something.
The problem with that was we couldn't make enough, there were not enough hours in the day to make all of our payments. So our mortgage was at about 2,500. We had like 8%, I think, or 6.
I applied for
Back
places,
then?
they don't take you because they look at your resume and they go, you're too experienced, you're gonna quit as soon as the economy gets better.
Yeah.
They don't want you.
So I watched John and Anya struggle through all that. Dave Ramsey's good, like, Warner and Ron Blue and Larry Burkett, all these financial planners. It's all basically the same plan.
Yeah.
And the point is doing it, they did it, and it was fun, once you grow and grow. And when they had money, they invested their money in their business. They didn't buy fancy cars and clothes and all that. They invested in growth, personal
We
growth.
also bought into television systems as well, and profit share.
Right.
And so we use profit share to buy used cars. And we've done just different things, but so we accelerated everything. And it's starting to snowball, debt snowball.
And I have so much respect for them, because in family reunion, they're out working. They're politicking with 15,000 agents for referrals. And in 1 year, you get over 30 referrals from people that you've met during that time. I have respect for them creatively doing that. So I want them to come up, because there's something exciting they get to celebrate. And it's been put on hold for a few months, but you have something here you wanted to.
Well, I didn't find the note, since that's not recorded, and I was not gonna go through my files, my system. So I printed out the mortgage, and I've got the satisfaction of mortgage, so that was really
That's
important.
something you can rip on. Okay, so would you guys rip your
Rip that out.
And we normally have a mortgage burning with that file on it. They are debt free, no mortgage, no car payment, money in the bank, and they have money going into their business now. They're a great example, you guys.
And they're in the top 10% of our company.
We actually wouldn't have paid it off this quickly. We had to clear out all of the savings, not investments, just savings. We did it because of the pandemic. I was just like,
We had a 5-year, we're gonna do
Yeah,
it for
we were
3 or
gonna-
5 years.
yeah.
3 or 5 years more.
yeah.
But we
were
just thought,
like,
we
no.
didn't know at the beginning of the pandemic what was coming. And we thought, why take a chance? Because we had that
Yeah.
experience before. Let's
We can
just get-
always dismantle the team, work from home, have one sale a month and
Right,
live. But we
survive.
don't have the mortgage.
So you're set up to survive.
And we have to thrive. So
Now you're thriving.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
Well, thank you guys very much. Okay, so I started my team in the late 80s, early 90s. And I had tried to figure out how am I going to save money to be able to budget and do. This is my budget. I've had this for 20 years, 30 years. I don't vary from it. My gross income, we go to my administrative assistant, and she was instructed to put money in certain accounts. I never touched my money. Then it would go to my wife. I didn't even know how much we were giving her. Just my job is to bring it in, and they're instructed to do this to keep me straight. So my money, 40% of my money off the top went into a money market account, and the first 10% goes to tithing. That's me. I want the church to benefit. I want to partner with God and Him bless my business, and it's been great for my career and my life. 10% I'm putting in savings. I am not working for free. If I can't save 10% a year, why am I working? I have to save money. So I put 10 for me. I put 20% for taxes. My taxes come in right around 20 every year. Yours will too as you go along. You'll be in different brackets, different levels, but it ends up being around 20. If I ever had money left over, I took it and I put it in savings for investments. Then my budget to run my home, my business is 35%. I ran that for 20 years. So if somebody says, how much do you spend a month? I say 35%. So if I have $100,000 a month, I have a $35,000 budget. If I have a $10,000 a month, I have a $3,500 budget. Simple. I can't outspend my budget. It worked really, really well. I stayed in that budget every year except 1 month. I had to kick in a little extra money, a small amount, that's all. And then 25% at the very bottom is what I have to live on. That's what goes to my wife. And Nancy's told, here's what we have, honey. It's all we get. It's all we can spend. Groceries, and we're not using credit cards. We have to live on that money. If we can't live on that money, where do I take it? This is what happens to everybody. They overspend at home. So where do I get more money?
Out of your reserves.
What reserves? I don't have reserves. Where does the money come from to live on? If I need more money, because I'm not budgeted.
You've got to increase.
Get another
your
job.
income.
Make it.
We typically will take it out of savings.
Yeah.
Now I'm robbing from myself.
Yeah.
To live. Can't do that. My wife and I were really, really in sync on this. We're gonna end up with that. We're gonna pay that. We're gonna pay that. And that's all I'm putting there. And I have to live on that. That's what our discipline was. So you come up with your own formula. Otherwise, if I'm spending too much here on my business, or because I want to buy a what-to-do something that's going to cost me 10 grand on a flyer or something, where's it coming from? It's got to come out of that. I was able to do that. Any idea, thoughts on that? Yeah.
The 40% in the money market, but you're only putting 10% in savings, where's the rest of it?
The taxes and the.
Oh, that was, oh, I gotcha.
Oh, I see.
10%.
You
Okay,
see the
there's a
line,
line across,
the
I got
line
it.
across.
I'm with you now, I gotcha.
And 20 goes to here. Yeah, there should be a line here.
Yeah.
I gotcha, I'm with you now.
Pretend there's a line. Anyway, it's a plan. I started with this way and it worked. And it's worked. I tweaked it a little bit in the beginning, but it's worked every time ever since. When you begin, you're probably gonna have this 30%. Your operating expenses will probably be 30. What does the MRA say? 30, right? I had a higher budget. I wanted to grow, but I grew a team. My last year in my team was 35 million production
Paul, what does the IRS say is the average
average.
expenses, operating expenses? What does the IRS consider
I
average?
know it. I just know it. Gary has in the MRA 30. I don't
It's
know.
35.
I think everybody's different. And if you're happy with 40, good, what are you cutting out? You know, and maybe you can trim that down. Andrew's growing his team. Do you have a monthly budget you're working on?
Yes, so when I started it, because of you, I started with paying myself 30, and that's why I was able to hire Georgia before the model. And then now we're adjusting it accordingly.
Good.
So
Okay.
but that was all because of this class and because of you.
Well, good.
Otherwise, we would have followed the MREA and paid myself 40 instead of 30.
Paul, how do you break this up as far as, for tax purposes like, okay, so if I give you a commission check for $10,000, does that go into a business account?
If you give me a check for 10,
The office, whoever,
If
you
make
receive a
commission
commission check for
check.
$10,000. You deposit that into Paul-
Business checking.
Paul's real estate team checking account.
yeah, and then you transfer it into the different,
And then you pay yourself out as an employee,
no, I'm a 1099.
you're
I
at
get-
1099 of your own company.
Yeah. All the money coming in is 1099. To all of us here.
I understand, but the
And that
portion
money-
that you then hand over to Nancy and say, this is our,
Right, when I was running the team,
Yeah.
I had checking account for the team,
okay,
an operating account for my team.
right, so your commission check went in there.
I deposited my check in there, and my admin wrote checks for every department.
Okay, so it was a business savings account, or
Uh-huh.
it's, okay,
Business
so.
money market account, business checking account,
Okay.
everything.
And then the 25% that you get for living expenses, you paid yourself out.
That went to
as-
Nancy from my operating account.
Okay,
I took that home to her and said, here's what you get to live on.
right. Did you
Even
make-
though I made $10,000,
Yes.
you get 2,500.
Understood. So how did you, so when you wrote Nancy a check for 25%, was it as a disbursement, as an employee, as a contractor of your company?
Didn't know, because all the taxes are done on the team. It's my own taxes. When you're running your own team,
You should
Yeah.
get with your CPA.
it's passed through, it's all passed through.
We've had a long line of bad CPAs.
If you show a CPA that formula, they'll know what line item to put everything in.
Yeah.
Well, that, if you want to keep yourself out of being audited, what my CPA advised was you have that account, you pay yourself W-2 for 30% or 20%, whatever you're gonna pay yourself, reasonable compensation.
Right.
And then as needed, if you need to, up to whatever your model is, 25, 30, 40%, you can do an owner draw above whatever you're
Or
W-2ing.
profit
That's what we're working on now.
or disbursement,
Yes.
pro-
That's
div-
what- that's what
dividend
we're-
disbursement.
Okay. I just needed, like I said, 4 years, 4 different CPAs, 4 very different models. I'm tired of the next one telling me, my gosh, I can't believe you're doing it this way.
Oh.
So,
You tell them what you want. They don't tell you. You tell them what you want. You take that model in.
but I don't know, like Angie said, I need to know, I need someone to tell me how to keep myself out
You
of
didn't
trouble.
have this model until just now.
You got the model now.
See if he likes it.
Okay.
Anyway,
If he doesn't, he's the wrong one.
in closing, I hope you were not entertained, but you were educated. And that you can use this in your life, for you, in your family, in your friends, in your clients. How was it?
Awesome.
Was it good?
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you're all here. That one person used their phone. Everyone stayed bright-eyed. It was great.
Yeah. Paul, will you talk about step number 2 before we leave, so that we know what to expect
Okay.
number 2?
Now I
This
want
is
you
the
to
fun part.
focus on getting all of this organized in your life, like the beauty guards and Kathy. And step number 2 is when you free up your money, when you've got 500 a month, 1,000 a month, what are you gonna do with it? How are you gonna make a fortune? How are you gonna make a wealth? We call it creating a legacy. The title of my next class is Living Your Legacy, where you're gonna buy 10 houses and pay them all off. You're gonna buy one a year for 10 years, and in year 12, all of them will be paid off. Every one. And I'm gonna show you how to free up over $250,000 a year income. Passive.
How soon do we get to go in this class?
I'm in the rewrite, updating it right now. It should be in about a month and a half, maybe a month. I gotta do all the flyers and the PowerPoints, everything's being done. And
Because
we're
of
doing
the
all that.
price of real estate.
Price of real estate's gone up, I had to adjust everything.
Right.
So it's really, really good. I want you all to be a millionaire. And I want you to, And then keep in mind, we talked about emotionally, money. Some of you actually are afraid to be a millionaire. Some of you are afraid of the word wealth. It's a good word because it's what you can do with it. It's not about you, it's about your acts, your works with money, of how you can help people. And we want to live. So that's what we're trying to do, is create that. You know, like John and I, you're doing that. You're right on that. So love seeing all of you here. It was fun coming back. And I won't be away so long, but retirement's great. We'll see you soon.
I should probably go.
You should tell your mom. Give your mom a report.
I will.
I go over the whole thing with her because I have a goal and
She'll help you with this.
yeah, she's
So Mr. Andrew Pepper,
Yes, ma'am.
What's your name?
We just did, earlier this year, I got to represent, 503 as a buyer's agent to help select and buy the land for them for a better. So that was-